Hello and welcome back to our short course on constructing a self-presentation in English. In this fifth and final session, we'll put it all together. Now at this point, you have a basic elevator speech you can tailor for further specific situations in which you need to present yourself and your business. Of course, the balance of self-presentation and business presentation in your speech, as I've said before, will vary according to the situation you're in. What's key is that before you enter a situation in which you know you'll need to give your elevator speech, that you've taken the time to think through the question of the audience you'll be addressing and what they might be looking for from you and your business. So, just to repeat that, when you know the situation you're going to be in, take a few moments to think about that unique audience and what they might be looking for from you as you present yourself and your business. So now, the only thing you'll want to add to what you've already put together is a brief, simple thank you to your audience for their time and attention. This will show that you value your audience's decision to invest their time in listening to you, and that you respect the value of their time. Now, what if they don't want to hear your speech? This entire guide is based on the assumption that your audience does want to hear what you have to say. But of course, as we all know, this may not always be the case. There may be situations in which the person you want to talk to simply doesn't have the time, or they aren't prepared to listen to an elevator speech at that particular moment. Others simply might not want to engage you at all. Such responses are really part of the normal process of self-promotion in the business world. Sometimes a person just doesn't have time to hear what you have to say to them for a host of reasons. The main thing is, I think, is that one not take such responses personally. Simply respond with a graceful thanks for their time, and if you sense that it might be received well, follow it up with a question about an appointment to talk with them at a future date. And regardless of their reply, smile and wish them a good day and move on. There's so much, I think, of everyday communication with people you don't know that simply is, how shall I put this? It's not personal. That is, they don't know you. They're simply responding to the pressures and requirements of their own day. And so it may feel like after you put together a great presentation and you've put a lot of work into it, that the response that you get that somebody doesn't have time or somebody doesn't want to hear what you have to say could be seen as a personal statement. But I assure you it's not. It's really simply a response that's born in the vast majority of cases out of people's own pressed needs for finding time for everything they have to do in their day, the rapid pace of their own work, and so forth. So I think that the other part of learning how to do elevator speeches well is simply to recognize that fact and to use the cliche, go with the flow, and simply move on and look for the next person who might have the opportunity at that moment to hear and be receptive to what you have to say. Now, questions about tone, affect, self-confidence, and pronunciation. These topics really take us beyond the narrow subject of this course, which really has been focused on simply creating a brief elevator speech. And they have to do with the larger issue of how to be an effective public speaker. And it's not that tone, affect, that is how you come across, self-confidence and promotion aren't important here as well. But I think ultimately you don't need to study techniques of persuasion to be able to put together and deliver well, effectively and persuasively, a self-presentation in English. If you want to learn more about these things, great. And the Northeastern University resource that I've listed in this section discusses these issues, as well as broader issues around techniques of persuasion. But I would like to look at one particular thing that sometimes can come up in the delivery of speech in English by native Finnish speakers, and that is pronunciation. In talking about this, my aim, of course, isn't to make anybody self-conscious about their pronunciation, but simply rather to list a resource that might be helpful for you in thinking about your own pronunciation of English. I've listed in the resources a link to a YouTube video on common pronunciation difficulties for Finnish speakers of English. It addresses the most common consonant pairs that sound very close to each other, but which it's very important to distinguish between in your spoken English. The content is very good, although I personally wouldn't have chosen the author's way of putting the content in terms of sounds that Finnish speakers, quote unquote, get wrong. So if that's the only thing I would critique of the video. Otherwise, it really does give a pretty good overview of those consonant pairs, such as D and T, or P and B. So, find it, take a look at it. If you find it useful, great. If not, that's great too. My main point here is simply to point you to a resource, but really take it no further than that. So, instead of focusing on issues of persuasion technique or issues of pronunciation beyond pronouncing your English in a clear way, what you really do need for an effective elevator speech are the following. Clarity. Clarity about who you are, what your business is about, and what you want from your audience. After clarity, conciseness. That is, it should be no more than 30 to 60 seconds in length. That is, 5 to 6 sentences. 5 to 6 sentences. Keep it short. After clarity and conciseness comes engaging content. Content about why your audience should be interested in you and your business over others. After clarity, conciseness, and engaging content comes a style of delivery that conveys your passion for what you do, about your passion for what your business is about, a style that engages your audience and is true to yourself, that conveys information not only about what your business does, but also conveys yourself, a style that's true to yourself. And that's going to be something unique to you. Smile. Be personable. And ultimately, simply be yourself. Well, folks, that brings us to the conclusion of our short course on preparing a self-presentation in English. Thank you for participating in this course. I appreciate your taking the time to be with me and to think about these issues together. I wish you all success in your own endeavors to spread the word about your own amazing work. And now, the last tasks for this session. Task 1. Put together now a complete elevator speech out of the individual sentences you've written in the task for this course. Read it through again for clarity and conciseness, and practice delivering it. When you're ready, deliver it before a trusted friend, paying attention to its pace, delivery, and pronunciation. If you don't have someone who can listen to your speech, again, record it and listen to it for the features of the speech that I've just mentioned, clarity, pace, and pronunciation. Note anything that you think needs further work and continue to work on that. And task 2, read through some of the examples of the elevator speeches in the resources for this section and compare your speech to the examples provided. What, if anything, and there doesn't have to be anything, but what, if anything, in the examples could help you to improve your own elevator speech, or to help you tailor it to specific circumstances. Thank you again. All the best. Bye.